Bonjour, que pole Jesus
What's up,
ZePenguin.
guys? Vibes
And
here.
today. Oh,
Uh,
okay. You think you can
who
impersonate
you?
me, huh?
Who's this Vibes kid? Like some random kid, like who thinks he's Penguin?
Not
What a
ZePenguin. Who the
fanboy!
hell is that? No, you're a fanboy
No,
of
you're a
ZePenguin.
fanboy.
Why are you in my? Why are you even in my
I'm
video,
sorry.
kid?
And yeah, guys, this is a Penguin here. How are
Hey.
you guys doing?
Yeah. So today I have a guest commentator with me,
Yours truly.
ZePenguin. You guys probably
Yeah.
know him. Yeah, he's a pretty
Not
famous
really, but
YouTuber. Not really. I'm
not
aware,
really, not
but
really famous, but that's right.
more so than I am.
You'll get there.
But anyways, we wanted to propose a question to you guys today,
All right,
and it's more like an area of discussion. So if you want to introduce
all
it,
right.
go ahead.
So you guys know how a couple of weeks ago, Common Arms was pretty bad, and I'm talking about when the server lag right after they moved the server location. Now, if you remember that, that was pretty terrible. That was pretty ugly. Probably, uglier than Brett, but
Definitely,
it was pretty bad.
you got that right.
Yeah. And so, that got us thinking. We actually thought that Common Arms was pretty much going downhill. Well, the prospect of Common Arms dying has always been a prominent one. And with that server lag, which was pretty bad, we were thinking, hey, when do you think Combat Arms will die?
Definitely, yeah. I've always had this. I'm okay, not always, but for the past probably 6 months or so, I've had this question on my mind a lot because, as you guys have probably seen, Nexon has just been introducing crazy sales, like
Sales,
ridiculous
yeah.
stuff, NX rares, yeah, like permanent recon, like that was unheard of back in 2000, even 2012. So it was just it's crazy to see all these new sales, and like as I see these, I'm like, whoa, is this the end
Yeah.
of Common Arms? Are they trying to gain as much money as they can from this game? Just it's kind of like milking a cow, squeezing out all they can.
That was
That's kind of a
yeah,
bad
that's a nice
analogy,
analogy. Yeah.
but that's kind of a terrible analogy. So scratch that analogy. But yeah, I think you guys understand where I'm coming from. You guys see all these sales, and we used to never have things like this, and it seems like over time they're just starting to care less and less about the game and more about the money. I mean, that might sound a little bit weird because Nexon's always cared about the money, but more so now than they did before. Definitely. I don't know if Penguin. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
but
Like,
that said, these sales maybe not. Sales have always been, one of Nexon's things. They've okay. So obviously, the only way they can generate wealth, the only way they can generate money, is through people buying NX. And so to keep up, a high influx of people buying said NX, they tend to host a lot of these sales. For example, you remember back in I know that maybe they haven't been hosting sales to the extent of, the one back in early 2013 with all those perms on sale and perm reconvest, etc.
oh yeah,
But, if you remember back in like mid to late 2010 when they did the retiring perm sale, remember that?
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
they
crazy.
basically, for any of you who don't know, they basically sold off every single perm weapon, or majority of the perm weapons, at like 25% off. And so basically, that would have been
Ridiculous. Yeah.
a massive time where people would have bought an X.
Right, definitely. And we just keep seeing these sales, and like Penguin said with the say goodbye. What was the official name? Goodbye
Goodbye
to
to permanent
permanence,
retirement. I
whatever.
don't know, can't remember.
Okay, yeah, retirement. Okay, whatever it was. Yeah, that sale was for me. That's kind of what marked maybe the downhill
Oh yeah.
or the spiral down of Comet Arms, because before that, as far as my knowledge goes, I don't remember many like as sales nearly as significant before then. And it seems like once that sale was introduced, people got in the mindset that sales that weren't as significant or as whatever as great as that weren't good. So Nexon probably also got in the mindset that hey, if we don't do extremely
People
amazing
won't buy the
sales
NX. Yeah.
with giving out free legions, then we're not going to sell an X because now we've got our customers in this mindset. So if we don't make crazy sales that are just ridiculously cheap, good items, then we're not going to sell an X. So I think that may be what kind of led them into these crazy sales.
That said,
Possibly.
I think it worked. Like, I mean, it was kind of risky. I mean, hosting such extravagant sales, that frequently, it's like it's a pretty big risk. I mean, you could like screw up the entire thing, and people could choose not to buy anything, and then the company would be screwed over. But
Definitely.
I think that the general Common Arms populace, no offense to anybody here, but to be honest, I think they're pretty how can I word this up being offensive? They can be pretty easily persuaded or easily trapped by Nexon's
Oh yeah.
marketing techniques. What do you think like the average age of the average Common Arms player is?
Well, going back before I answer that, before like what you said before about being able to be easily persuaded, yeah, that's definitely a fair statement. As far as the average age goes, I would have to say probably somewhere around 14 is probably my guess for average
Maybe a bit
age.
older.
Because
I'd
there
say
are
like
a lot of
15 or
older
so.
players. Yeah, that's probably more reasonable. We do have a lot of young players, but there's also a pretty large amount of older players that are going to raise that
Yeah,
average
like
substantially. So I would say that it's probably 14 to 15. That age range is probably the average for
yeah,
Common Arms. So yeah, as Penguin was saying, yeah, I guess probably at that age you're more
susceptible to.
yeah, definitely more susceptible and more not really gullible, but you're gonna be more easily persuaded, and you're not gonna think before you buy. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why possibly it might not only be Nexon's fault, but we have to take into consideration how we act according to
Yeah.
those sales. Because if we didn't buy them, then we probably wouldn't have stuff like perm mutagens and
Hmm.
whatever else. But they know that people are going to buy them. They don't think before buying them. They don't think about negative effects that are going to be left on the game from items. It's just something that isn't taken into consideration. So with that being
Yeah.
said, that's probably another large reason why
Earlier,
it is getting like it
Earlier
is.
you mentioned how you think the Common Arms is well, downfall or like descent into madness or whatever was marked by the
Yeah,
retiring cells, right? To be honest,
yeah.
I don't know. I've said this before, but I actually think it came a bit earlier than that. Like, when did you start playing Common Arms? 2009?
I actually started right after it was released to the
Ah,
public, so right after the beta closed and it
you
came out.
old.
I didn't play. Yeah, yeah, I'm an
Yeah,
oldie vet,
old.
but I didn't play um, that much. Then I started and I got to like
Yeah.
MSG, and then I think I quit, and then I came back in like 2009. So yeah, that's when I actually
Alright,
started
so then do
the
you remember,
game.
like, in around August of 2010, there was this one patch where, they changed the HUD, the heads-up display, to, that more modern look. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
the same
yeah,
patch
yeah,
which,
definitely.
the, tracker knife was released in.
Is that when they also changed the gun
I think
sounds?
so,
I'm
yeah,
not
when they changed, yeah,
sure.
when they got, like, the, old silencer sounds and made them, like,
Right,
sound
right,
like a
yeah,
dying cat
yeah.
and shit, but, yeah.
Yeah, the suppressor sounds. Yeah, they went from sounding like normal suppressors to little mouse that are choking. Or mice. My bad.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, I definitely do remember that. Yeah,
So,
so
okay,
what were
with
we
that
saying?
patch, I think that the reason I find that patch so significant was mainly because of the heads-up display change. They decided to change from their, from their more oldish, more rugged, but at the same time iconic look. They were unique
Definitely.
because of that heads-up display.
Yeah,
It was different from like any other
definitely.
shooter out there, such as COD or whatnot. But with that patch, they decided to make it a bit more modern, and it started to look like more like other shooters in the market. It began to appear as if it was more like a COD game or whatever. And so I think that's when Common Arms, I mean Nexon's mindset began to change a little bit. When they began to start considering, when they changed from, oh, let's just make this game, to entertain people, to more of, let's make this game into an actual business, to a business where people will actually invest money into. And yeah, that's why I find that patch so significant. And I think that's when right after that patch, the retiring perm sale and whatnot began to follow soon after that. And, that led into all the sales we have today and, that mentality which Nexon seems to have.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's a very logical way to look at it. Like you said, moving from a more, um, I guess, old styled user interface to a more modern interface, and then introducing those sales. Yeah, they kind of, to me, that's a very good point. They go hand in hand. Um, they went from a game that was unique to a game like a modern
Where
game,
they wanted to make
and
money from, yeah.
with that being yeah, with that being said, yeah, that's what companies like that are after. So they pretty much kind of like transform um, the surroundings of combat arms to make it feel more modernized, and with that, they would be able to make it more of a money profiter
Yeah.
instead of having a unique old styled game. It's going to be just like any other game now, any other online game. They're after money. I mean, not to degrade any other companies, but most things in life are for the money. I guess
Yeah.
that's a fair statement.
I suppose like a company which makes really good free-to-play games which stay free-to-play and not pay to win. Just an example, have you ever heard of you've probably heard of Perfect World Studios?
Oh
They
yeah, yeah,
made
definitely.
they mainly do MMORPGs, but they also made Blacklight Retribution. Um
Hmm.
don't know if you've played that or not, but that game,
No, I
yeah,
haven't.
it's a pretty good, damn good shooter. But more importantly, it's not pay to win. There aren't of course they've got a real life current an in-game currency which you have to buy by using real life money. But that
Right.
said, their game isn't centered around that. Like the weapons which you can buy using that currency aren't, extremely overpowered, don't give you a massive advantage over the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
Um Also, like,
That's.
yeah, there
Go
have been
ahead. My bad.
lots of instances when we thought, Comet Arms was on the verge of dying, like as you said, the sale was earlier, like at the start of this year, or maybe back when remember when they bought Sudden Attack?
Oh yeah, yeah,
People
yeah, yeah,
thought they were
definitely.
gonna start, investing all their time and resources into that game and, leave Comet Arms to die.
Uh huh.
So when do you think Comet Arms will die, and like what will mark the death of Comet Arms?
All right. Well, I know I keep kind of backtracking a little bit, but I'd also like to address the part where you mentioned the weapons and Blacklight Retribution. You said they were more okay. They have a real life currency for those guns, but they aren't overpowered like per se NX
Mm.
rares. So also back when okay, I don't know if you played when the black market was
Oh, yeah.
released, but did you or
Um,
no?
I I started playing right after it was released, so
It was only like a month after the beta or a couple
okay,
months,
probably not then.
so maybe not. Okay, well anyway, once it was released, this pretty much goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier. The guns released were like much more for cosmetic purposes. Like the first gun in the shop was the I remember it was the golden plated
Oh yeah,
AK-47. It was pretty much purely cosmetic, and so at, I guess over time they evolved from going from cosmetic
yeah, like the G36
purposes to
Valkyrie, for example. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, Valkyrie, yeah, cosmetic purposes uh, for NX to pretty much being able to buy your way
yeah,
through the game. So if you use money to play the game, then you're going to be more successful. You're going to do better, unless you're crazy like Great Brett. Um, but anyway, yeah. To answer your question, when do I foresee Comet Arms dying? I've had really mixed opinions about that lately because, as you remember, a few weeks ago
ooh,
when the terrible lag situation happened, I guess probably a lot of people had in mind that that might have been the end because it didn't seem like they cared. And I thought, well, hey, this is a perfect opportunity for them to say, hey, screw it, we're just gonna let the game die out. No one can play anyway because of the lag, so we're just gonna ignore everyone, not take care of it, and that'll be it. So that kind of changed my opinion a little bit from when I thought it might die out. And right now, they have gotten their shit put together with the lag, and it's fixed. So I see them honestly continuing Combat Arms for at least a few more years, because if they can keep up the advertising and marketing and the way they scheme for NX, I know that's a bit harsh,
No, it's
but
perfectly true.
they are, yeah, it's definitely true. They're very intelligent and they have great
I wouldn't
marketing
say
skills.
intelligent,
Probably,
like they're pretty cheap marketing skills, but continue.
well, yeah, that is true. It depends on how you look at it. It's intelligent in the sense that we don't. I mean, most people aren't gonna look at it
Yeah, people are gonna fall for
like
it.
it's a blatant, yeah, it's like it's a blatant way, but it's also stupid in the sense that anyone can think of that if they're using their brain a little
Yeah.
bit. So I probably see it surviving a couple more, at least 2 to 3 more years, if they can just try to, like like mutagen, for example. It was overpowered and made people mad, but it wasn't, in my opinion, too far over the
No,
edge. Like,
yeah,
obviously, not that many people have
yeah,
quit
this is a
because of
completely
it,
different topic, but
right?
I personally don't have a problem with mutagen at all.
Yeah, yeah. Like, see, some people do and some people don't, and that's just the reality of it. But if they were to introduce more things, which I think they may possibly, I know this is probably ignorant for me to say, but they may have learned their lesson with mutagen. A lot of the Combat Arms population is there for quarantine, and I think they try to keep an eye out on the quarantine players, because if they release something better than mutagen and push us over the edge, then that might lead towards the death of the game. But if they can just kind of keep going along the way they have and not doing anything too crazy, I mean, of course they're going to keep introducing overpowered weapons, but we have so many that it doesn't really make a difference at this point. So yeah, with that being said, I can at least see it lasting probably 2 to 3 more
Yeah,
years. What
when you
about you?
say they don't release anything too crazy, what line are you like drawing there? When what is too crazy? When does it reach that point?
Okay. I haven't specifically thought about this, but probably I would say it's going to go overboard if I don't technically anything past mutagen. Like, I don't have too big of a problem with it, but I know there's a ton of people that do. I mean, it does annoy me. Say they released another mutagen, maybe it was like the, I don't know. This is just a
Like a flying
example, but maybe
mutagen or
like
something,
yeah, a
shooting
flying
lasers out of
mutagen,
its
or
eyes.
maybe
Yeah,
like a yeah. We're thinking more um, in like fantasy
yeah,
terms,
yeah.
but
It's still cool.
um, maybe like a mom of Crusher and Striker. So she has
Ew.
yeah, that would be quite weird to think about. But maybe she has characteristics from both of those zombies, and say she has pretty much it's just a combined Crusher and Striker. Since she's maybe the parent, then she gets both the unlimited sprint and the crazy hit points with the
Yeah.
regain time. So if they, I haven't like put enough thought into it to like actually specifically decide what would make everyone quit and what would be too far. But I there's a lot of possibilities that uh, could get could get to that point.
Mhm. Okay, but remember, there's always like it's always a double-edged sword here. You always have to consider the flip side. And although people do have a problem with mutagen, but at the same time, a lot of people, and by a lot I mean a lot of people, buy mutagen and they use mutagen.
Right.
And really, that's all Nexon really has to care about. If people are still buying NX, then that's good for them, and that gives them a
Hmm.
reason to keep the game going, because that's more NX, it's more money to exploit. And so, really, unless Nexon does do anything like immensely crazily stupid, like introduce like flying unicorns, pooping out nukes, and shooting lasers from their eyes. Um, as long as they do that, as long as they don't do that, I think that if people are still willing to buy an X, then they're still willing to keep Combat Arms running, and that ultimately is the bottom line of it. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely well said. I was gonna question you before you said that, with the whole mutagen thing and people still buying it, but I think you addressed it fairly. If it is something so overpowered, of course some people are still gonna buy it, but I think the negative outweighs the positive aspect here. I think that more people would be drawn away from common arms and say, "Hey, we're not even gonna bother buying this. If we still want to play, everyone's gonna have to buy this." But if we do all buy this, it's going to greatly change the way the game's played. It's not really going to be the same game anymore. So what better do we have to do than quit? So like you said, yeah, if it goes overboard, like too far overboard, then that might do it. But if it's still within fair boundaries, not anything too overpowered compared to mutagen, then I would say it's fine. But that's just my opinion.
Sure. So, do you reckon we want to wrap up here?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've both addressed what we have to say. I know I have. Have
Pretty
you?
much, yeah. Good fun.
Yeah, I think I've gotten all I wanted to say for this video. But like I said, those are just my
Yeah,
opinions, and everyone's
we're
entitled
not
to their own
experts here,
opinion.
guys. I
Penguin
mean,
has his
especially
own.
Vibes. He's like a freaking idiot, but like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So don't quote
yeah,
us on anything we say.
yeah. Definitely from Penguin. His IQ is far
Right,
lower than
yeah,
mine.
right.
But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys. If you still are at this, I know it's like over 20 minutes right now, but if you guys have listened this far,
Kudos to
then
you.
I appreciate you guys for
We love you all.
listening. I don't know,
Have our babies.
definitely, we love you guys. We don't know how, I don't know how interesting this was. Hopefully it's interesting for you guys to listen to two players' opinions on topics such as this. And you guys can subscribe to Penguin. He
Yeah,
doesn't
no, actually,
make
don't subscribe.
videos
Don't subscribe
actively
to me. I don't
anymore.
make videos anymore.
Don't subscribe? Okay, never mind. I was going to
Subscribe
put your
to
channel
this
link in
kid,
the description.
Vibes here. He's like really sexy and stuff.
Yeah,
No worries.
appreciate that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching, and if you guys would like to see more stuff from Penguin, you probably don't because he's trash. But if you do, let me know. He's available most of the time, so we might be able to do some more commentaries and things like that together. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and